Guys, I know it's been a minute, but welcome back to the vlog. Today we're doing a book review. We're going to be talking about The Final Empire, the first book in the Mistborn series, and I absolutely loved it. Full disclosure, I had absolutely no idea about this book going into it. I hadn't even seen it on shelves. I've never heard about it. I didn't read a plot review or anything like that. One of my friends just kept messaging me about it. It was like, look, if you're doing books, if you like to read, I know you're going to love this book. Please read it. And after about 3 months of listening to him talk about it, or trying to get me to read it, I said, okay, I'll check it out. So I picked it up on Audible. I have a monthly subscription plan through Audible. I love doing audiobooks because it's just such more convenient for me in between my drive to work, during my lunch break, anytime I'm on a road trip or anything like that. I just love putting in my headphones and just love listening to audiobooks. So the book quickly sets the stage for the Final Empire, and the Final Empire is an oppressive government that's been ruling by the same Lord Ruler for the last 1,000 years. He's immortal, and it gives you the impression that he has like these magical powers. In the Final Empire, one of the most descriptive scenery about it is that ash coats everything. In the book, they never talk about volcanoes, so I always wondered how the ash got there, but one of the most common things is how ash coats everything. It smears everything, it's very gloomy. And of course, as the book might imply, there's the mist. The mist comes at night and it coats everything as well. The book follows two main characters. I'm hesitant to call them the two main protagonists because I'm not sure how the other two books are going to play out yet, but it introduces you to a madman named Kelsier and a recluse young thief named Vin. The book introduces a magical system called allomancy, and there are very few allomancers out there who have this ability to ingest certain metals to be able to influence other people around them, which is really cool. An example, someone who can ingest tin can have enhanced senses, whereas someone who can ingest bronze can soothe people's emotions. Now, one of the important things here is that there are very few allomancers and they can only burn a specific type of metal. Allomancers are very rare in this book, and even rarer, like the 1% out of 100, are called Mistborn, who have the ability to access all 10 metals. And the book introduces Kelsier, who's one of the very few Mistborn. He is a crazy madman who is set on revenge. He wants to overthrow the Final Empire. The Empire did him wrong. He spent years in a prison, and now he's broken out, and he just wants to overthrow the government. And now he has these newfound powers as a Mistborn who is very overpowered in some senses. Kelsier, being a madman thief, puts together a small thieving crew and sets up base in the Final Empire, plotting to take down the government. Quickly onto his journey, he comes across this small teenage girl named Vin, who has been a part of a thieving crew and is just a very withdrawn, very recluse girl. But upon interacting with her, he quickly realizes, even though she doesn't know yet, that she is also a Mistborn. And that kind of sets the stage for the book and how it plays out. We'll talk about spoilers in just a minute, but this book was just amazing. I couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop listening to it. One word I would use to describe this book would be epic adventure, maybe even part mystery. One of the very unique writing tools in this book, I think, was at the end of every chapter, there was a one or two sentence that was read from an excerpt. It never explains who this excerpt is being written by or read by until the very end. So while you're seeing the adventure fold out between Kelsier and Vin and the crew, you're also seeing this other third person's perspective. You don't know who they are yet. If you listen to it on the Audible book, the accent that the person uses gives you a small clue as to who it might be, but you're left wondering the entire book all the way up into the end. You're like, who is this person I'm reading about? Who is this other person who's witnessing everything? Are they part of the crew? Are they the Lord Ruler? Who is this other person? So it creates a really unique narrative that I liked at the end. So it was really interesting on that part too. I think Brandon Sanderson did a great job of building this world. You get a real sense of how it's built out. The Ska, which is the 90% of the population who is in slavery, and then you have the noble highborns. And I think he does a really great job of making you feel what both sides of the ruling class feel like. I mean, when you're reading about the ska, he does a really good job at painting like the struggle that these people are going through, the years of being oppressed, what that makes you think like when Kelsier's trying to get these people to rise up. You know, they've been in this system, this feudal system for the last 1,000 years. So the thought of rebellion is completely out of their minds. They're like, man, people have tried before, it never works out, you're just going to get us killed. You get a real sense of the struggle that they've been, you know, forced to deal with. And on the flip side of that, when you're seeing about the nobles, he creates this imagery that you immediately can feel like the piousness of the nobles. They're like the snuffy highborn, like, oh, you know, oh, you pitiful people, you're so terrible. It creates this imagery that is just so easy to get into. I never felt bored. I never felt like, you know, when I was listening to it, I could easily imagine everything that was happening in the book. The entire time listening to this book, I'm just constantly trying to figure out what's going to happen next. Is someone going to betray someone? You start trying to theorize who is like deceiving who, and it just keeps you guessing the entire time. Every time I kind of thought I had a theory, plot twist completely broken. But from start to finish, was not disappointed, guys. I can't recommend this book to you enough. Uh, Absolutely recommend picking it up. You can get it on Amazon. A paperback, used paperback version for like $2. It is not hard to pick it up. For those of you in my local area, I do own a physical set of this book now because after I read the first one, I'm like, I know I'm going to want to share this book with other people, so I went and bought a physical copy. So if you're in my local area and you want to check it out, just message me and I'll let you borrow it. Or you can get it, like I do it on Audible subscription. I think it's something like $12 or $13 a month, and you get a free book every month of your choice. Just reading the first book alone, I guarantee you, I would definitely want to read the rest of the trilogy. I'm about 2/3 of the way done with the second book, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to try to burn through the third one as quick as possible, so I can let you guys know if the trilogy is worth reading or not, or if this is just a one book. But definitely by this one book alone, I definitely recommend it. All right, guys, we're going to stop here before we get into our spoiler section. I know maybe most of you probably haven't read this book yet, so I'll do my ending here, and then we can continue on to the spoilers afterwards. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this. If you guys liked it, hit that like button. If you guys want to see my review for book 2 and book 3, hit the subscribe button, and then we can continue talking about it. Let me know what you guys thought about the book. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your favorite parts? Write those in the comments below. As always, guys, I couldn't do this without you. I never would have even heard about this book if it wasn't for you guys. So keep sending me those reviews, and I promise you I'm going to keep reading them, because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have read Ready Player One, and I wouldn't have read The Mistborn. So far, my most two favorite books I've read in a really long time. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Spoilers. Anything past this part is going to be spoilers. So, okay, now we're in the spoiler zones. I can talk about some things I absolutely loved about this book without worrying about ruining it for you guys. First of which, I loved the relationship between Kelsier and Ben. It was, I mean, it's very much a father-daughter relationship, which is very interesting, especially if your dad is a crazed madman. But clearly, Ben never had like this family growing up. She was taught that everyone's going to betray her, so she was immediately, pulled away from everyone. But she latches on. I don't want to say she latches on, but she begins to trust and learn from Kelsier, and you can just see it. She's trying to get as much knowledge from him as possible, while thinking, okay, he's going to leave me, he's going to abandon me, and then I'm just going to be left like everyone else. But you slowly start to see her, like, rely on him and expect him to be teaching her the entire time, which I love that dynamic of their relationship in this book. One of the more interesting parts when you start to see Vince start to open up while she's playing Lady Valette at the balls, you start to see her, she still has her guard up. She's still, thinking everyone's out to betray her, but she's starting to analyze people more or start to trust them more. And that's when you get introduced to Ellen. And Ellen is playing a big part in book 2, so I definitely recommend paying attention to Ellen in the first book. So it's really interesting to see the relationship between those two, even though Ellen is portrayed as this, a son of a highborn. He has to be pious. He's the most famous, the most well-liked guy in all of the Final Empire as far as like the nobles go. But it's interesting to see that the more you pay attention to them, the more that could not be true, could not be less true about Elend. That although he is the son of a highborn, so much is expected of him. You can start to see how he really doesn't want to be in the position that he's in, and he wants to change the empire. And it's interesting how quickly his philosophy turns into his real life scenario for him. Okay, the biggest spoiler about this book. Hopefully you guys have read this part, so I don't want to ruin it. But we have to talk about it. Kelsier's death. Um, it hit me a little harder at first. Like I wanted to rewind and see. Wait, what? Like Kelsier just died. What? And it didn't initially hit me, but I loved that. Like it was all a part of Kelsier's plan. That thing he says the thing he says to the Lord Ruler right before he dies, he was like, "You cannot kill me. I am hope itself." And then boom, the Lord Ruler straight up kills him, and I'm like, wait, what? Kelsier, you're dead? What? But then you start to see like this was all part of his plan. He had planned to die by the Lord Ruler's hand. He had everything set up for his death. He had made plans for the Ska, for the rebellion, for weapons, for his body to get taken, and so that people would think he's still alive. How his death was the rallying cry, the martyrdom for the rebellion, and how no one knew about it. But yet he had planned this from the very beginning, and I was just like, what? So that was definitely like, oh, that hurt me. But at the same time, I had such appreciation for it. I was like, holy crap, from the very beginning, everything that happened in the book was all leading to his death, which he already knew had to happen. So that was really interesting. I really liked it. Then, of course, killing the Lord Ruler. There's still parts that aren't explained in the book, how she was able to control the mist. I'm not sure. It has yet to explain that in book 2, so even more spoilers there. It still hasn't explained how she was able to call out to the mist, but I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out. But she was just that part where she knew she had to kill him. There had to be a way, and she ends up killing the Lord Ruler, and it's also that leaves you on a cliffhanger too. He said, his dying words were, I was your Lord, I was your God. You still don't know what I did for you." So it wasn't that he had conquered the empire. It gives you this image that though he might have been an oppressive ruler, he was still secretly, benefiting the people somehow. And that just leaves you like, wait, did we just make a mistake? Did we kill our only, lifeline? And I'm hoping that the rest of that gets explained in the rest of the series. But that's going to end it here. I hope you guys loved this book. I hope you guys enjoyed it.